After a harsh encounter with his departmental chair, Arthur Struth Middlebrook flips out in his part-time teaching gig, running around obsessively cleaning blackboards. He quits and decides to reskill as a geology major, his childhood passion, during which he takes a job as a museum guard at the Art Institute of Chicago. While guarding some of the world's most valuable Art suffers a brain event that leaves him with shotgun-sensitive hearing in his left ear. Cajoling Professor James Hugunin to tell his tale of becoming of erotic engagement with his orally enhanced world, readers are now privy to how Art's herd mentality, both curse and blessing, changes his life and those around him. Art and his neighbors, Heaven, a blind photographer, and Al, a professor of combinatorial analysis, fight off the annoyances of tiny twin furies, Dina Betcher's brats, suffers the antics and crimes of a rogue CIA agent disguised as a clown, and eventually discover where Teamster boss Jimmy Hoffa's remains are stuffed. I know you're all waiting to find out what that is. Apropos Art's newly altered life world, media theorist Marshall McLuhan writes, quote, "The extension of any one sense alters the way we think and act, the way we perceive the world. When ratios change, men change." While French theorist Michel de Certeau asserts, "The ear is the delicate skin caressed or irritated by sound, an erogenous zone." See how these phenomenologies play out in the odd life of this former art professor and critic working as a part-time museum guard, where his weird ear comes in very handy while reskilling as a graduate student in geology, listening to his quirky professor's ode to a geode. Sit with Arthur in his golf ball-inspired Dome Homes cockloft and listen in on his pan-Audicon hearing as he sucks the sound waves out of Chicago's radios, televisions, and teeming millions. Blush as you listen in as erotically charged Una Coda Bionda wins Art's heart through oral sex. A submarine in a sea of authorships, Hugunin, a textual bricoleur, inspired by his famed photocollagist mentor Robert Heineken, faithfully follows Arthur's authorial demands as he torpedoes a myriad of texts, reassembling the verbal wreckage into one playful, wonky hodgepodge where most definite articles are missing, the past tense is considered passé, and which Arthur Middlebrook boasts is a new genre of literature, a ludic acadromen. A comic database in 12 parts, each part with numbered subsections. Okay, this excerpt then is from section 5.6. The prison of the self. Gaps between bars are sutures of one's own skull. Death and mayhem on 6 o'clock news opens wrong cell door, and Art does find himself on old burlesque stage with several baffling props: igneous rock, sand dune, enlarged prostate, all resting on mock-up of typology of some drained delta. Such stuff always puts Art in a morbid frame of mind, similar to what we normal folk find expressed in that irreconcilable melancholy of an exposed embryo depicted in some Salvador Dali painting. That not-so-benign deity of Art's inner space does take control. His face betakes on qualities of catatonic withdrawal. Symmetry and regularity of visage does mask intense inner violence of hot cauldron of time and myth. Marked blood pressure derives. Starts thinking about those 9 billion names of God. Re-experiences deep, dead inside feeling like all vitality be sucked down a big black hole, like he does have when Sister L's, short for Elsie, given only 2 weeks to live thanks to cervical cancer, initially misdiagnosed as just bad cramps, by distracted obese HMO doctor who labels sister merely a complaining woman. Wonders if doctor be guilty about pulverizing sorrow, Elle's family does suffer. She has outsoared the shadow of our night, envy and calumny and hate and pain, and that unrest which we miscall delight. So art prays. Art guiltily be recalled that upon sister's birth, be shown her and told he be having someone to play with. He does assume she be toy, he does ask, yes, but where are its wheels? Can never forget last visit to her deathbed. Elle's bewildered, drug-inflected eyes looking at him for the final time. They'd be like black holes sucking out his happiness forever. Black holes. Does recall that eccentric East Coast physicist David Melville be trying to create a matter-sucking black hole at Brookhaven National Laboratory, dubbed Alphaville by critics, hostile to impersonal Alpha 60 logic exercised therein. Melville be using relativistic heavy ion collider to duplicate conditions that prevail milliseconds after Big Bang when universe consists of primordial soup du jour dubbed quark gluon plasma. Well, problem is probability said black hole may be hungry and wants to eat its way down towards center of terra firma, slurping up all stuff from inside out. Terra be torn, but not firma. Doomsday machine. It'd be not a good time to be around to see this. Not even steroidal musculature and bashing big bearing of Schwarzenegger can escape super-sucking Schwarzschild radius of black hole. No, let me caution you. Suddenly doorbell be makes sound of putted golf ball dropping into tin cup. Subtle sound, but weird ear does hear delightful plink, loud and clear. Roused from reveries, grabs golf ball door handle, turns, opens, and ho! Beholds type of face that be never succeeding, face that early on learned society the only keep filthy trick of the rich. It's Dina Betcher, mother of the brats, who claims that she be learning courage from Buddha, Jesus, Lincoln, Einstein, and Jeff Chandler, flaunting her best bedraggled beat-upness. Sauerkraut hair, eyes be looking like crushed flowers, fresh beneath like dough be risen and punched down. Has dry, hectic look and be so white that lipstick rages on her mouth. Between lips, a galois. With each passive puff, red ember of her cigarette glows brightly and grows like dog's erection, chewing off almost a half-inch of tobacco and leaving a wilting gray tube of dead ash in its wake. Fighting back tears, her carotid does stand out. For a moment, each be stare at each. Distraught, art ain't so nice to look at either. Two neurological totems be confronting each other in mute nostril agony. Blue vein of worry beating steadily in her temple. Fine brow wrinkles like overbaked potato as she does suck her fag. Her physique, posture, and morphology does alert some screaming switchboard of insecurity within art's mind. She does give out bitter, grown-up laugh, seeping from her soft cherry blossom lips like raw sewage, ugly trickle turning to blood-curdling roar be splashing forth. Needs milk of human kindness, spooned on wound like sour cream on baked potato. Clock time here no longer valid. Watches begin to melt and drip. Sensation like meeting IRS tax inspector while riding amusement park's wall of death. But soon rectilinear structures of consciousness do reassemble and normal conversation does become possible. Rectums merging as both have common shit in life to overcome. Both must constantly fight total demoralization. If, as Albert Camus claims, quote, a man is more of a man because of what he does not say than what he does say, close quote, and if this statement be applying to women, then Dina, mistress of understatement, be more a woman for that fact. Fact, for me, the author, be that these two characters be disquieting muses. Art and Dina's across-the-street neighborly relationship does recall back-and-forth bantering between obsessive-compulsive detective Adrian Monk and his ever-suffering female assistant caretaker in popular cable TV series, Monk. Dina's role as mother of twins and long-suffering wife of unreconstructed barhound and wife-beater, Rue, does make her source of rivers of tears, like Anna Livia Pluribel, James Joyce's archetype, feminists would say stereotype, symbol of constant renewal in Finnegan's wake. Dina? She's a case of guilt, by the way, that's G-E-L-T. She's a case of guilt by association. Be shining when with likes of Art, Al, and Una, but be tarnishing when Rue be near. Art's next-door neighbor, Al Schmerbach, does describe her as a bizarre hybrid, having Shirley Temple's head in curly top, planted on top Julia Roberts' buff body and Aaron Brockovich. But now her curly locks do hide under crummy crimson scarf, cleavage invisible under turtleneck. Her eyes be shining like small light bulbs, flecks of eyeshadow be catching in wind-lashed lashes. Often does wear small yellow badge declaring, my safe word is ouch. When not bruised by Rue, resulting in her eyelids turning dark with pain, like now, she be radiant with health and life, always some study in dirty duds. In high school, he'd be first president of the Jeff Chandler fan club. A movie screen, she explains to amazed Una one day, is a kind of sky, a sky filled with events and people. From where else would film stars come, if not from a film sky? Being heap romantic does build whole philosophy from cry of crickets and our heart's anguish. Be chewing Bible brand bubblegum that does come in little folded cartons, smallest of its kind for any product in the known universe, and contains 2 pink tablets. Printed on inside of each carton be verse from King James Bible. When carton doesn't fold, verse be revealed. Fact, Bible gum, packaged in workshops for disabled in southern Missouri. Stuff be now collector's items sold on eBay. Dina does ask for ice pack for abused nose. Art be obliging. She does press comforting cold compress to her bashed schnoz. As blood be congealing, she do become more congenial. As pain be dulling, her mind does wander to thoughts of delightful escape. Seeing acres of air-conditioned Greyhound bus interiors, glinting, slightly greasy railings, old rivet heads needing paint, being seen herself piling into crowded bus, later to be sweet-hearing surf and smells of ocean, sans brats, and her husband, Rue. And Rue? He be home, exhausting from marital fracas, sitting in patched-over stuffed chair. Entering his mind, we be spying maze of tiny cubicles and narrow corridors, jumbling with rusty old engrams. Only active area of these boozy speculations inspired by TV documentary, lining delightful lives of prim and proper limeys during Shanghai's colonial days, when Brits be moving through their day from office to lunch to dinner and nightclubs, in delightful haze of dry martinis or gin tonics calling out, quite, yes, governor, a large pink gin, easy on the pink, what? Ho, ho, elementary, bit of all right, Alan Chap. Hey, be yelling Dina, getting Art's attention. You gonna invite me to dinner? I smell some of that mulligan stew a la Sorrentino you're always making. And starts to hiccup. Everything's different when you have the hiccups. Thank you.